Guy, don't get me started, okay? Here we go. We are live. Here we go. So today's objective is we're really going to be talking about linear equations. And there's several forms. So linear in math really means straight. It's got to be a straight line. We've talked about parabolas, those are curvy. We've talked about polynomials, those are curvy, right? But if it's a linear, it really is a straight line, okay? So, first of all, the general form, okay? So the general form is some ax plus by equals c. That's general form. It's also called standard form, depends on the book. Every book calls it one or the other. General form, standard form, same thing. Just depends on what textbook you're looking for, okay? An example of that would be a 3x, say, plus a 2y equals 12. That's in general form. There's an advantage to all of these forms, okay? So the advantage to general form is this. We could graph this line by the cover-up method. You guys remember the cover-up method? Like make x 0. Y is 12, right? You make y 0, x is 4, and you can just graph it easy, okay? We've done that before, okay? So the advantage of the general form is that you can graph it by intercepts, okay? Slope-intercept form is the y equals mx plus b. And the advantage of that one comes from graphing, okay? So an example of that, we've seen these. Y equals 2/3 x plus 5. And that one makes it really easy just to graph. Start at 5, go up 2 over 3, up 2 over 3, right? Point slope form, which I like, that's the one I just showed you. It's the y minus my y1, m times x minus x1. And I like this one if I do have a point and a slope. So an example is if I were given a point, let's say some point is like 3, 5, and my slope is maybe 4, I would use this form instead of the y equals mx plus b. I think it's faster. And finally, the intercept form, which you will rarely see, x over a plus y over b equals 1, okay? And I'll show you an example. If you know the intercepts, then you could write this equation as x over 3 plus y over 5 equals 1. Okay, that's the equation of that line. If you know the intercepts, okay? Oh, darn it. How about x over 5? I always make at least one mistake a day, don't I? There you go. 5, because that's the x-intercept. 3, because that's the y-intercept. Okay. So we have these formulas. Let's go ahead and do some examples. So example 1. Find the equation of the line passing through 1, 4, and 5, -2 using the point slope form, okay? So if I use the point slope form, that's my y minus my y1 equals my m times my x minus my x1, okay? And that is right there. So I'm going to use that formula. Well, first though, I need to find the slope. So first let's find the slope. And we looked at the slope formula yesterday. If you don't have the slope formula down, the slope formula was y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? And that was in yesterday's notes. So every point's got an xy value. This is my first point, so I'll call that x1, y1, first point. This is my second point, x2, y2. Okay, Cameron, I want you to ask me a question. Say, Mr. Davis, does it matter which one's point 1, point 2?
Doesn't matter which one's point 1, point 2.
No, it doesn't matter, because 2 points make a line, doesn't matter, right? Does that make sense visually? Does it matter which way you start? So you could call that point 1, point 2. Same line, right? Same line. 2 points make a line. I just called this point 1 because it's the first one I saw. Thanks, Cameron.
Yeah.
So then the slope in this case is going to be negative 2 subtract 4 over 5 subtract 1. Okay, there's my, I went y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. If I simplify that, I'll get a negative 6 over 4, which becomes negative 3 over 2, or we could even use a decimal. It doesn't really matter to me. We could even use negative 1.5. It doesn't really matter, okay? Either one. Now, I still haven't found the equation, so now I need to use my formula. So I'm going to use the point slope formula, so I'm going to go y, because that's my y variable, minus y1, which was my 4, equals my slope, which is a negative 3/2 times my x, which is my x variable, subtract x1, which is 1. Okay? I'm going to simplify by distributing, so I'll have a y minus 4 equals a negative 3/2 x plus, well, I'll make it 1.5. It'll make it easier for me to add the 4, right? It'll make it easier to add the 4. Plus 4 plus 4, y equals negative 3/2 x plus 5.5. Thumbs up? Okay.
Give me a sec.
I will. Heather, I'm so glad you're here. You always do better when you're with me, don't you? Yeah. You're very good at math. Online doesn't work for you. I like you here. I know I'd sneak into my first period class my Monday, Tuesday if I could, but Mr. Gailey said, nope, can't mix up the pod, so. Okay, Malachi, how am I doing?
So far, so good.
Okay, turn the page.
Not yet.
Not yet, okay, I'll wait for you then. Okay, so example 2 on the back. We want to find the equation line parallel to 2x plus 3y equals 6 passing through the point negative 6, 12. So you don't have to draw a picture, but I'll just give you a visual picture. Negative 6, negative 12 might be way down here. And what I need to do, if they're parallel, I need to find the slope, because two lines that are parallel have the same slope. So I need to find the slope here first. So let's solve for y on my equation. To make them parallel, we need the slope because they'll have the same slope. Okay, so then minus 2x, right? Just solving for y. I'll have a 3y equals a negative 2x plus 6. Divide by 3. Y equals a negative 2/3 x plus 2. Okay? So the line I have, this line, looks like this. That's my y equals my negative 2/3 x plus 2. That's that line right here. So the line parallel, the one we're looking for, it's going to be like that, right? I'm a lousy artist, so just bear with me, right? So I have a point, and I have a slope. My slope is negative 2/3, right? So again, I'm going to use my point slope formula because I need the equation. So I'm going to use my y minus y1 equals my m times my x minus x1. Since I have a point and a slope, it's easier for me this way, okay? So I'm going to go y minus, well, my point x1, y1, right? So I'm going to go y minus a negative 12 equals my m, which is my slope, which is my negative 2/3, times x, which is my x variable, minus x1, which is a negative 6. All right, how am I doing?
Give me a sec.
I will. And I'll fix the double negatives when you get caught up, okay? We'll fix that first. Just make it easier to fix those double negatives.
There.
Okay, so double negatives, right? Plus, 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 just makes it easier. Okay, I'm just going to do that right now. So what I have then, and I'll distribute, right? I've got a y plus 12 equals negative 2/3 x minus 2 times 6 is 12. 12 divided by 3 is 4. You okay with that? Or 3 goes into 6, 2 times 2 is 4, okay? Or use a calculator, right? But I like 2 times 6 is 12 divided by 3 is 4. Subtract 12, subtract 12. Y is equal to negative 2/3 x minus 16, which is the equation of that line right there. And they are parallel, same slope. Okay. Example 3. And this one's on the test, so we will have tests sometime. I don't know if we'll have it next week, but anyway. So find the equation of the perpendicular bisector. Okay, so I'm just going to draw a rough picture, give us an idea of what's going on. So if I draw a picture of what's going on, we're going to have AB, which is about negative 2, 3, there's A, and B, which is 4, negative 5, there's like B. Okay, so just a picture of what's going on. So here's AB, and I want the perpendicular bisector. So I want a line that's going to look like this. I'm looking for that line right there, okay? So I'm going to do a couple of things. First of all, bisector means it cuts it in half, right? So I want to find that point, and that's the midpoint. So the first thing I'm going to do is find the midpoint. So we have a midpoint formula. Okay, that was like on the first day of class. And the midpoint formula is my, and if you don't have this, it's my x2 plus x1 over 2, comma, because it's a point, y2 minus y1 over 2. Okay, that's my midpoint. So if it's a bisector, it's got to go through the midpoint of AB. So the first thing I do is find what the midpoint of AB is using the midpoint formula, okay? So again, let's just say x1, y1, x2, y2, right? So I'm going to set this up as my midpoint. I'm going to go 4 plus a negative 2 over 2, comma, negative 5 plus 3 over 2, comma. Okay? So I'm trying to establish what the midpoint is. I need the midpoint because that's a bisector, okay? So I get 2 over 2, which is 1. Okay, you guys okay with 2 over 2? And I'm going to get a negative 2 over 2, which is a negative 1, okay? All right, once again, lousy drawing because that doesn't even look close to 1, negative 1, does it? I'm a terrible artist. It's okay, that's why we do the math, right? So now I've got the midpoint. And the next thing I need to know, so that's my point, is the word bisector, okay? So, I'm sorry, perpendicular. So two lines are perpendicular if their slopes are opposite, right? So the second thing I need to do is find the slope of AB. So if I find the slope of AB, call this line L. So if we find the slope of AB, then the slope of L would be just the opposite, the negative reciprocal, right? So we find the slope, okay? So we know the slope was our y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, we've learned that. That's my slope formula, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and find the slope of AB. So I'm going to say m is equal to negative 5 minus 3 over 4 minus 2, okay? So I need to find the slope of AB because line L is perpendicular, okay? So my slope then is going to be my negative 8 over 6, which is the same as negative 4/3, okay? This is a hard problem. It takes many steps, but I'm trying to go through it slowly with you, okay? So I found the midpoint because I need the bisector. I found the slope of AB, but I need a perpendicular slope, right? I need a perpendicular slope. So the perpendicular slope of line L would be positive 3 over 4, right? Because it's the negative reciprocal. So the slope of L is going to be 3/4, okay? Now finally I'm ready to find the equation, right? So I'm almost done. I want to find the equation. And I like the point slope because I really have a point and I have a slope. Now, which point do I need to use? Come on, you guys think. Which point should I use to find the equation of the red line? Yeah, exactly. This 1, negative 1, because that is on the red line. Everybody agree with that? So here's my point. I'm going to use this point. I'm going to use this slope. And I'm going to use my equation. I'm going to use my y minus y1 equals my m times my x minus x1. I like my point slope. You guys will probably get used to it. My guess is hopefully by the end of this semester you guys are going to like this equation better than y equals mx plus b. I think it's easier. So go y minus a negative 1 equals 3/4 times an x minus 1. Okay. Double negative, right? So I have a y plus 1 equals 3/4 x minus 3/4 because I distributed, right? Subtract 1. So my picture is way off, but that is the answer. Okay, so let me go ahead and put a box around it. So this is the equation, and I really didn't draw it very well because it should be further down. This is the equation of the red line. It goes through the middle of AB, so it bisects it. It crosses it 90 degrees because it has the opposite slope. Okay, how's that? How's that?